Hello, I'm Latanya Jr., your host of TCB 360, the Smart Business Network, which is available around the world on YouTube and also on Live 365. But you can always check it out at tcb360.com, tcb360.com. Join me as I record our weekly show, Words of the Week. We're back on track for the new 2011 year. It's important. I just want to say this to all of our viewers and our listeners. It's important that you catch these shows up front, this January, February, March, because I am laying the shows out in an order of the planning system. And if you are new listeners, it's going to take you just a few weeks to catch up. But if you've been hanging out with us for 2 years, you'll know that there is a time, a season, and a reason. And all that being said, it's January. It's a great time of the year. We expect a lot from the economy. We expect extraordinary and infinite new opportunities for small businesses around the world. So I'm going to put my glasses on. I'm just going to take a moment and put my ears on and listen to the music. You can catch the show on repeat, on Ustream, or just go to the website, TCB360. Thanks for tuning in. I'm very grateful. Here we go. Welcome, welcome. TCB 360. It's your host, Latanya Jr. I'm back. A new year. Wonderful time to learn. It's not over. New year, new things to learn. World's adapting and changing. Get your newspaper, your pad, your pencil, your recorder, because it is time to learn. Welcome to the show. Yeah, newspaper. Yeah, because every week we're going to do a little added piece. I'm going to pull some ideas out of the newspaper. So make sure, starting today, when you listen up, I'm going to be pulling information from newspapers around the world, not just the U.S., but here and there. And I want you guys to communicate with me more. Some of you do a lot, but I sort of hear from the same folks. Yeah, the same. You know who you are. It's like I know you all by first names. I know your family stories, your histories. I love it because I love you. Well, it's been a minute. I took a moment. I pulled back so I can clear my head and revitalize myself, and I feel very energetic, and I'm going to jump straight back into our words of the week. I'm going to put you right back on par. At the end of the year, we ended with week 13, and we're going to pick up, right? I think we ended with week 13. Absolutely. And my schedule says we're on week 13. I'm going to share some words, and then there are going to be other shows and all that good stuff, and you are going to do extraordinary things. Infinite opportunities. That's our focus this year. Market endurance, infinite opportunities, and contagious sustainability. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So word one, jump right in, LJ. Jump right in. Hey, listen up. Now, this is a word, and I don't want you to say after I go over this word, hey, I don't need to hear this show because it's going to get really easy. I know these words. Some of these words you're going to know, just a few, but I'm going to put a spin on them because I'm going to add some real personal experience, and that's going to change your perception and how you do things, trust and believe. But to put everyone on the same page, we're in the F's in our alphabets of words, and our first word is factory outlet. And, in the U.S. and around the world, we're familiar with a factory outlet, but I have to say this. The fact that for years we have ran businesses vertical, up and down, just up and down, these different lines of command and leadership. And now, because of globalization and collaboration and connecting points and the internet, we're moving now, or we've already moved into the stage of horizontal, which means people are collaborating and they equally are important, and they're able to really bring out not what they do good. People are collaborating at their potential genius level. And what that's doing is producing, some may say manifesting, the best quality product. If everyone come together on their greatest versus those areas where people are at different levels. And that's another way to look at horizontal. You're going to hear it different ways throughout the year. You've heard it the traditional horizontal playing field way just a few weeks ago and into last year. But I'm going to do everything I can to open your minds up. So here's the definition: factory outlet, all on the same page, and off-price retailing operation. So it's considered an off-price retailing operation that is owned and operated by the manufacturing company. So the company that's actually building the products own this particular outlet, and normally what they do is they keep all their surplus there, they keep their discounts there, they keep their irregular goods there, but they're doing something else. They're doing something else there. And if some of you had forgotten, in most cases, what companies would do is they would have a factory outlet, they would send a truck to pick up large containers of whatever the products were, and then they would drop them off at different stores or make sure each store had a certain amount of product. In the world we live in today, due to technology, and if you remember the story about the horizontal business framework or structure or relationship that that great store Walmarts have, remember this? Now listen up. They're horizontal manufacturing facilities and companies that they collaborate with was able to shrink in their overhead because of what? Just in case some of you may remember. Do you remember? Well, I'll tell you. It's because when you go to Walmart and you go to the registrar to cash out your product, that product, when you swipe it and once it's paid for, a report is immediately sent to the manufacturing company. The manufacturing company doesn't have to make all of these products and leave them stacked for months hoping people purchase them. Manufacturing companies are now only going into manufacturing the product once it is purchased. So it saves money. It saves money. Can you imagine? I'm not going to make another cake until I sold another one. But because of technology, they can do it really quick. I'm not going to make more turtleneck sweaters or shoes or sneakers or Nikes. And they're basically moving product nearly at the same time and reducing waste. And that's what manufacturing outlets are doing. It really is a benefit for small businesses. It's a real benefit for small businesses because small businesses couldn't be in this manufacturing game for most of the part because they didn't have the funding, the investment. They couldn't purchase the big building, the store, and all the other parts, everything from cardboard to drivers. Now all of a sudden, horizontal business, horizontal manufacturing companies enable small businesses to compete and participate on a whole different level. Something to think about. New world. Things are changing. Things have changed. I'm not going to say things are changing. Things have changed. How about that? Here's fixed costs. We all know what fixed costs are. Fixed costs. This is what happens. Costs that do not vary with production or sales level. Fixed costs. Some of you that are moving product quickly, you're quite familiar with a fixed cost. Many of you, and I say many, but I would say just as many as those that work in a fixed cost don't work in a fixed cost. It is basically saying no matter what happened, this has to be the absolutely cost. It cannot vary because it's X amount of expenses and people have to be paid. So it is the fixed. Anything over the fixed becomes what? Anything over the fixed cost becomes a part of the profit. Part of the profit. How about this one? Everyone should be participating in some kind of focus group once or twice a year, even as a small business owner. When you go to tcb360.com, I want you to scan down to the bottom part of the website, and there is a click there for an extraordinary, innovative focus group company. It costs less than $50 for you actually to put together a group of questions or whatever you want to get a response that you can use in order to make the best decision for your products and services. It'll cost you like $50, and now you can sit in your office and actually put together electronical focus group in real time and get answers from real people, not computer systems, real people, very affordable. So focus group interviewing, personal interviewing that involves, traditionally you gather 6 to 10 people, you sit down for a few hours with a trained interviewer. You just don't do it. You sit down with a trained interviewer and you talk about your products and services, and an interviewer focuses on that group discussions to see what the most important issues and responses are going to be, so they'll be able to get the best insight of whether those products and services are going to be relevant and important to the community, to the consumer. I tell you, the big picture, what they're really trying to figure out, bottom line, is what does that product and service or services solve for consumers. You got to get that across. Your products and services have to solve something. That's to solve one of their problems. You know, you need detergent. Why? Because it solves the problem of dirty clothing, correct? Yeah. You need some kind of soap. Why? Because it solves the problem of body odor and dirt. Okay? You need some kind of food. Why? To sustain and stay alive. Of course, there's choices based on your palate, but that's the idea. And focus grouping used to be just for the big guys. It's for everyone now. How about this one? Follow up. Follow up, simple, but why did I share it? Because you ought to be doing it. Follow up is the last step in the selling process. Online, you see people say, hey, you'll see something to pop up, say, can we check your opinion? In the store, the follow-up may be other things. You want to know any kind of customer satisfaction, because what you're trying to do is you got to get that customer to repeat. That customer got to get to the place where they're going to repeat buy. If you don't get your customers to repeat buy, you're going to spend your business life constantly looking for new followers. So whether you are on a car dealership, I meet so many people, whether you're a lawyer, on the accounting firm, it doesn't matter. Whether you're on the theater, it doesn't matter. The idea is once that they have made a decision, they've become aware, you've converted them as a one-time client, what kind of follow-up are you doing to get them to be a repeat customer and transforming them into loyalty? Or as my friend Julie Washington say, devotion. Yeah, I'm going to use that a lot this year. Yeah, devotion. Okay, so follow up. Now, just to just let me not leave your brain sitting there going, oh, yeah, I sometimes check and see if they're satisfied. But follow up also means continuing a strategic advertising campaign. So maybe you advertise for the first 2 weeks of the month, depending on the season, and your consumers, what they like. But you give it a rest for 2 weeks for several reasons. Budgets, for also you don't want to wear the customer out. You don't want to become annoying with your message. You want to be considerate. That is a big word this year. We're going to be considerate. That makes me feel good about calibrated energy every time I say that word. Okay? So follow-up is not just, are you satisfied? Follow-up is, are you moving forward with any kind of campaign, any kind of PR, any kind of emails to inform people, yes, I still have sales. Yes, I'm going to do something in the spring, the fall. Got it? Got it. Put my glasses back on. Franchise. Franchise. Franchise, normally you think of McDonald's, right? It's a franchise. McDonald's come to mind large, but there are so many extraordinary new franchise that are affordable for small businesses. I have to tell you one. In the United States, and it may be overseas, there is the most extraordinary little franchise, and its name, their name is Paintless Dents. Paintless Dents. Often when you drive your car and you go in a parking garage or a parking lot or wherever you go, people have a tendency to park too close, open your car, and put all these dinghies. That's what they call those dents from a car door, dinghies. And in most cases, you would have to take your car to a dealership. They actually keep it a few days, paint it, and charge you $1,000 to $1,500 to take out these little dinghies. Well, here, I tell you, this is so amazing. Today's modern cars are made of product that if you use things like heat and certain treatments, those dinghies just pop right out. So there's an extraordinary new franchise called Paintless Dinghies. But why? You don't have to paint. They put heat on that area and they just rub it and all those little dinghies pop right out. I've had it. I have a new car this year. I had 2 dinghies in 2 weeks and I was amazed. It took about 10 minutes and my car had absolutely no sign of any kind of door dent. So that's a new franchise. You have one of the newer ones, Jamba Juice. Yeah, they're young, they're new, lots of opportunities. These are affordable franchise because normally you don't buy one, you buy a couple. And I could go on and on and on and on and on. Great little franchise that are popping up that are affordable for people with an entrepreneurial spirit. But this is the definition why people go into franchise. It's a contractual association between a manufacturing company, between wholesalers or service organizations, independent business people who buy the rights to operate one or more units of a particular company's system, franchise system. And why it's good for some, because when you purchase a franchise, what traditionally happens is that the headquarters office, the actual company, the associate, they pay for things like your marketing, for most of it, like 80% of it in most cases, 70, 80% of it. And they pay for a lot of the expenses. They already have a name, so they have some brand loyalty, so you don't have to move as though it's a business that no one's familiar and you have to go into developing the brand. You just have to keep the caliber and quality and character and essence of it up, which means you have to do it good and do it right, so you don't give the franchise a bad name. Absolutely. Hey, one more word. How about this one? Another one. Franchise organization. Similar, but listen to how this plays out. There's the franchise itself, and then there's the organization. The organization is a vertical system. It's up and down. Now, that makes sense. In franchise, that makes sense. But what happens is, even though the organization's up and down, the actual leadership in the organization, they're doing a lot of business horizontally. Yeah, they're creating partnerships, making things happen, and then they trickle those partnerships down a vertical way to their franchise owners. Correct? They're association owners. You got it? So franchise organizations, a contractual vertical marketing system in which a channel member, called a franchise, links several stages to the production and distribution process. See that? So the organization itself, the overall chair, they've probably have a lot of horizontal relationships, but the franchise, and that's what happens. The organization up here, the marketing system has to trickle down. So those franchise owners are down here. See my hands if you're watching a television show on Ustream TV. The franchise owners are down here in the grassroots, and the organizations are sprinkling the marketing system down. That's layman's for you. Let me take a sip and clear my throat. I had never, believe it or not, 20, 30 years. What is this? Huh? How about this? Freight absorption pricing. This is really cool. For some of you businesses, they're importing, exporting, and I've taught importing, exporting for the shout out to all the Lehman University, Lehman College students in New York. This will be a reminder for you because we discussed this in detail in class, and that is a geographical pricing strategy. Now, just put your head around that. I know that's a lot of words. A geographical pricing strategy in which the seller, I'm selling the products geographically. Just think about the planet, the different communities, but the seller, I'm going to absorb the part of the freight charges. So listen, I'm going to pay for the freight charges. I'll pay that. And why I do that, it's in order to get the desired businesses. So that's almost like a tease. You know what I mean? It's like, I want businesses to do business with me. So here's a teaser. I'm going to absorb the pricing of the freight. I got you on that. That's like a bonus. So think about that. When you're doing some import exporting around the world, my Australian companies, my companies in Buda, I know you guys. I listen. I'm watching. I'm reading. Yeah, thank you. China. A lot of listeners in China. 40% of our listeners in China and Japan. So think about it. You sit down, you do those deals. Hey, I want my freight absorption pricing. You small businesses are going to be so swanky out there. Just remind them TCB 360 may help you make it happen. Help. We didn't do it all. We help. Gatekeepers, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, there are gatekeepers. And gatekeepers are people whether you're in an organization or in a community. But in most cases, we're talking about gatekeepers as it relates to organizations. And what they do is that they are the buying center. They control the flow of information. That's what you call it in an organization. Now, when you look at it in the community, in America, they call it the Joneses often, but it's still the gatekeeper no matter where you are, the keeper of the gate or the gatekeeper. And the other person is really control the flow of information. You know, people say, hey, go and check him. Here's another word for gatekeeper. Wouldn't it be, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Wouldn't it be the adoption process? Would that be a maven and a connector? I would say a maven and connector could also be called a gatekeeper. Oh yeah, a gatekeeper. Gender segmentation. Gender segmentation. You do this. You guys do it often. There are products for women. There are products for men. This is nothing new. There are a lot of opportunities to segment. If you're not familiar with the word segment or segmentation, think of separate. Separate. Segmentate. It's going to take me to separate, to divide. So gender segmentation is when you divide the market into different groups based on their gender. And in your planning process, when that happens, in your planning process, when that happens, you speak to women in a certain language, tone, style, correct? A certain brand behavior, and you speak to men in a certain style, tone, behavior. You customize your advertising message. Some will say marketing message, depending on what generation you're from. And you customize it based on who you're targeting. You do not send men and women the identical thing. In some cases, I should say that. But in most, if you have a specific target and it's necessary for you to separate genders, it's necessary for you to separate the language. Just like it would be for, age segmentation. Age segmentation. You do not speak to an 18-year-old the way you speak to a 35-year-old, correct? So if you want a successful campaign, it has to be authentic and it has to be, how about this word? Meaningful marketing. It has to be the truth, and the customer or the consumer will only consume your product or service if you speak to them in a language that is relevant. Oh yeah. Generation X. How many of you that listen are a part of Generation X? You've heard of baby boomers. That's really popular. Baby boomers. Baby boomers are everyone that's born from, I think, 1948 to 1964. Yeah, I'm the youngest of the baby boomers. Got a birthday right around the corner. The youngest of the baby boomers. But Generation X, in the United States, they represent about 45 million of our a little over 300 million consumers. And Generation X, they were born between the ages of 1965 and 1976. So yeah, I was correct. So up until 64, you're a baby boomer. After 64 to 76, you are a Generation X. They follow the baby boomers. They follow the baby boomers. Geographic segmentation. Another segmentation. I love these. Segmentations are so important, and you'll be able to get so innovative and creative and fresh new ideas when you really get to that place where you understand the language. You're clear about the outline of the plan. You're clear about the ingredients, what's going to make it complete. It's like writing a sentence, correct? You're writing a sentence, you need a noun, you need a pronoun, right? You need certain ingredients and language for that sentence to be correct. Well, what's happening is, no, we don't all plan exact, because we all have different goals and intentions, and research drive you to a different direction in the way your consumer behave. I could just go on and on. But what you are learning is the areas where you know that will help enhance and move your business to the next area. Some of you may say geographic segmentation doesn't affect me. No, some of you may say I don't need gender right now. No, you may not, but it really broadens the brain to have it, but it also allows you to segment the overall bottom line better, separate and divide, right? I'll tell you more about that later, because that may say, well, how, and maybe I shouldn't have brought that up, but this is important. Geographical pricing, setting prices for customers located in different parts of the country or world. We see it all the time. I'll use McDonald's. If I was to go to a McDonald's in the Midwest, which is the middle of America for our global listeners, I could get a hamburger, the larger hamburger, for probably $1.99 something. If I take the same burger from the same franchise company organization, but I get in my car and drive 13 hours, that burger will double in price. It'll be about $4. And it happens a lot with products for a lot of different reasons. Travel, cost, experience, how often the product moves. You can go on and on and on why it's necessary to have geographical pricing. Most small businesses, especially if you're selling online, you charge the same price for everything. And I get that. But if you're in the community and you're doing something, you've gotten to the point you have 4 or 5 little offices, 6, 7 offices, I'm sure you take the geographical segmentation into, you take it into consideration. It would be smart business to do that. Geographical. Oh, let me add to this. Dividing the market into different geographical units, such as nations, states, regions, countries, cities, and neighborhoods. And then, of course, determining what the geographical pricing. I want to just correct myself there. Determine what the pricing is going to be for those states, regions, cities, towns, or neighborhoods. Got it? That was it. Last and least, but not least. How about that? I don't think I'll go any further. I see a couple more words, but I think I'll save them. Today we went over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We went over 12 words. Don't forget, by next week, you'll be able to go to www.tcb360.com and you'll be able to go over these words. The first 12 weeks are already on the website. So make sure you go and play them back and learn and broaden your imagination. Hey, if anyone would like to interview me or join me online or join me on the radio, whatever you'd like to do, call me, and I'm open mic this season, and any small business that want to join me, be a co-host, do so. Don't forget, if you have any questions, check at me at LJTCB360, LJTCB360. And for those hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and I want to say thousands, but yeeshies, there are quite a few thousands of followers on our blog, which in our blog is entitled The Beginning of Something Big. And you can link to it right from the website, tcb360.com. Thank you for your comments. Your comments encourage me. They're outstanding. They give me energy to move to the next level and want to know more so I can share more with you. And last but not least, don't forget to check out our new website, which is www.tcba3, as in apple3.com. So if you don't want to do it yourself, I'll do it for you. If you pay me, of course. That's our new agency for small businesses around the world. It's still being tweaked and twacked a little bit. Jason's working on it, but just keep returning and turning and turning, and you'll see us adapt and grow and continue. If no one told you they love you today, I haven't changed my feelings about you. You know that I do. My name is LaTanya Jr., and I breathe hope and love in your footsteps, and I wish you great success. Thank you for listening, and thank you for viewing. I am grateful. Bye-bye.